welcome everyone to my CST-227 Milestone Project. My name is Ray, and it has been so awesome to be able to make this project. First things first, I just want to say thank you to Dr. J for being amazing. You are an awesome professor, and being able to work on this project and you giving me the flexibility of letting me work with my own pace made me actually understand the project more fuller. And so for that, I say thank you. Thank you for letting us have the discussion post. Shout out to my classmates as well. And so pretty much, I hope all is well. So this is what's going to happen now. I'm just going to give you kind of a demonstration of my project. And my project's pretty cool. And this is my land Minesweeper game. And hashtag not Minesweeper, but land Minesweeper. So pretty much it was a concept which we had to make for the game for the actual class. And so I first started with working with, of course, the milestones down from milestone 1 all the way to 7. So one thing which I really liked about the guides were they were actually kind of very detailed in a sense where we were able to actually understand the basis of what they were asking us to do. And so being able to use my favorite Visual Studio language was amazing. And so my favorite language, hands down, I just gotta say is C#. So being able to use it again was just a lot of fun. So let's get into the actual project. We first start with my board class, and this is my board form. And my board form is pretty much the form of where I'm able to make the grid for the actual board, the Minesweeper board. So as you can tell, I have my game variable, and it's activated with the cells, and when it starts a system diagnosis process. So after that, it loads up into it with the actual size and location, and then we have the event handler using for the actual click of the button, which we use in order to check. So pretty much, it's a pretty cool concept, and it's also within like a certain time, so it's on a stopwatch timer. So let me expand this out a little bit more. There we go. So what's cool about it is it lets you pretty much check if the condition is either good or bad for the actual board. So it's based on the actual event handler right here. And so this is my board form class I have right here. Same concept. It's my Sublime text, and this is my Visual Studio. Okay. So it's the board form class. Next is the complexity form. So the complexity form is pretty cool. So it's pretty much just the actual difficulties and being able to just adjust that with simple mathematics and also setting a couple of variables of just letting if the condition was true, then we were able to actually increase the difficulty, which was fun. So I enjoy doing that. All right, so next is the cell class. So for the cell class, we have the different rows, different columns, different visited actual variables, the Boolean condition, if the neighbors are actually live or true or false, and we have the numbering neighbor, and we have that initialized at 0 up top. So as you can tell, I declared them over here. After I declare them, I use the setter and getter methods, and pretty much after I did that, I used the toString format, and then I just show the neighbors and use like reveal in a sense in order to check if those neighbors are actually good. So this is actually kind of the recursive algorithm in a sense where we're able to check, and you'll see more within the code. We have different types of actual loops and kind of Boolean conditions which help with that concept as well. So what we have next is my high score class. High score is pretty cool. So this is just simple high score logic as I have in my C#. I'm loading the actual high score file onto there. Once I actually loaded it, and then I just brought some of the elements in, and pretty much just gives us a description of getting the time span and then letting you know that once you win, it took you this certain amount of time to actually do the high score. So you'll see it from my Sublime right here. A lot of fun. Very nice. All right. So what's next? What we have is the land Minesweeper form. All right. So now here's the land Minesweeper form. Pretty much what we did for this was, what I did for this, me and Ray, of course, because you know I got this. All right. So what I did for this was I pretty much made a public land Minesweeper game, and pretty much this was like the actual like kind of board form. And the main board of what I did for this was I was able to pretty much prompt the user and letting them know that, hey, choose a spot. And so once I chose that spot, it let them know if it was actually valid or not. And once I have this condition letting them know, checking if it meets the condition, then the game would be prompted letting them know that it's actually over, which is cool. And this just shows the display board, and it gets itself from the string. All right, so next we have the player stats. All right, let's do this. Player stats. So I love this because it's my game logic. I'm a really big game maker. Well, I'm trying to be. So just being able to make like stats like this always lets me get really into the code. So we have the player, the level, and the time. So first with the player, we pretty much have that variable declared, and then we have the time, and then we actually are checking now within the actual comparing to of the actual statement of the actual class for the player stats. If we check one time is lower than another time, then we're returning a -1, and if it's greater, then we're returning 1, and else outside of the loop, we're just returning 0. So pretty much that helps with the actual time span. So it's both the same concept. And lastly, this last one is letting me get the number of ticks for the average time span of duration, which within the player stats actual class. So a lot of fun. Last but not least, the program. This is the last file, and pretty much I was just able to declare the complexity form, just prompting it, and then once I did that, I was able to initialize it and then get the actual settings, and then I loaded up the board form and I loaded up the Minesweeper game onto the actual application. So those were just the logistics of just pretty much looking at the code. I'll just show you one more time. You can see all the way from here. Let's give you one more rundown. Okay, so now that you saw the logistics of the game, I think it's about time that we show it. So we're going to get into it. Let's do this. Oh, excuse me for that. Give me one moment. Let me just change that. Where's that? Attach. Excuse me for a moment. Let me just fix this quick error which I was having. But because sometimes my laptop it can act up from time to time. But you know, no excuses. This is just still gonna make it happen. Just give me a moment. But you just basically saw that logistics of the actual stuff first. So let this actually load up. And once this loads up, then we'll continue more of the actual explanation and just troubleshooting and giving you the guide of the actual thing. Sorry about that, Professor. But you know, still thank you again. So what I might actually just do right now is I might just split this video up in two. So this was just pretty much the first explanation I've given you it, and then after that I'm just going to send you another one, and that would be of me actually showing you the project. So yeah, again, thank you for your patience.